We've got some big breaking news to bring you from the world of football. Manchester United have sacked the club's manager, Ruben Amorim, after just 14 months in charge. The club has issued a statement which says that they have reluctantly made the decision and that it is the right time to make a change. The club adding in its statement that it will give the team the best opportunity of the highest possible Premier League finish. Well, the news comes after a news conference on Sunday in which Amorim urged the club to let him do his job without interference. Well, let's have a listen to what he said at the weekend.
I'm the manager of Manchester United, and it's going to be like this for 18 months, or when the board decided to change. So that was my point. I want to finish with that. I'm not going to quit. I will do my job until other guy is coming here to replace me.
It was Amorim, who's just been sacked, speaking at the weekend. Let's go straight to the BBC Sports Centre and join Ollie Foster. Ollie, this is massive news, but in many ways it was kind of coming.
Yeah, not unexpected, because that came after Manchester United's 1-1 draw at Leeds United over the weekend. Those words from Ruben Amorim, who took over in November 2024 from Erik ten Hag, sort of an ultimatum towards the Manchester United hierarchy. There were hints that there were tensions between him and Jason Wilcox, the director of football, the head of scouting, and he said it there: I was brought in to be a manager, to have much more of a say, he felt, over the direction in which the club was moving. But he just didn't like the way that the club was operating, and he was hinting there at perhaps interference in his day-to-day running at Manchester United. A terrible first season for him. Yes, it was only half a season last season in which they finished 15th, and he leaves the club with not a particularly bad position, actually. They're 6th in the table, but there was just a feeling that his intransigence over the way that he set up Manchester United tactically with a back three just wasn't suited to the Premier League. He didn't have the players in place for that formation that he stuck with, and he actually changed it a few weeks ago with a degree of success. But going back to that formation and just not getting the results that Manchester United have demanded leaves them without a manager now. He was their 8th full-time manager in 13 years since the great departing Sir Alex Ferguson, and they just haven't found that continuity. And yet again, Manchester United, one of the great teams in world football, are looking for a new manager, Regina.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's a massive story globally, isn't it? But we'll talk about who might take over in a second, Ollie. But I just wanted to get into a bit more detail about how we got to the place where you've got this club sacking him. There's been lots of reports in recent days and weeks about tensions between Amorim and people at the top of the club, including the director of football.
Well, that's just it. And you just think about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who was brought in to take over football operations when he bought 25% of the club from the Glazers, just to look after Old Trafford, the team, and to try and get that great club back on track. It simply hasn't worked because there's been such a high turnover of managers, and they felt that the Portuguese Ruben Amorim, he was the answer. Great success in the Portuguese league, but that just hasn't translated. And it has been his, like I say, his refusal to really change his formation, despite of those results going against the team, that has essentially counted against him. And those very defiant words, saying that, look, I am the man in charge, I am going to turn things around after that recent slip-up over the weekend, dropping more points, well, that has cost him his job, because he called out the Manchester United hierarchy, and when managers do that, usually there's only going to be one winner.
Indeed. Now, that statement from the club says that Darren Fletcher will take charge of the team against Burnley on Wednesday. But of course, the search for a longer-term replacement continues. And as you touched on just then, there's been quite a lot of change over the last decade.
Yes, there is. When you go through the Manchester United managers, you think Erik ten Hag, he didn't last very long at all, just over a couple of years. Ralph Rangnick, half a season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, David Moyes. He was the anointed one that took over from Sir Alex Ferguson all those years ago. But they have just not been able to make a manager stick because of the expectations that Manchester United has. When you think of all the glory or the trophies they've had, but those do seem a long time ago now, and they have fallen so far behind competitively in the Premier League, which is what their fans demand. They demand to be up near the top of the league year in, year out, and they are so far off the pace as it stands from Arsenal, from Liverpool, from their great rivals across town, Manchester City. Ruben Amorim came in and there was a feeling that this is going to be a 5-year plan, but yet again, the hierarchy, they're not letting their managers get anywhere close to that length of time in charge.
Ollie, you touched on the fans' view. I wanted to ask you in a bit more detail what the reaction is likely to be from Manchester United fans, a very big and loyal group, not just here in the UK, but around the world.
Well, they've seen it all before. I would have thought Regina will be getting reaction here on BBC News, I'm sure, throughout the day. We're winging our way to Old Trafford to see exactly what the feeling is on the ground. But they've seen this all before. Every 12 to 15 months, a new manager comes in with a new way of thinking. And I think patience will be running out, not so much towards those managers who are departing and where they've left the club in and what state and position they are in the league competitively. But again, eyes will be pointed towards the structure in place that should be delivering success on the field. And that anger and impatience, I think, will be directed towards Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the footballing arm of Manchester United.
Yeah, and just briefly, in that search for a new manager, what do you think the biggest priority for the club's going to be? I mean, Amorim did spend a lot of money in the summer, didn't he? Thinking that also might help with new signings. Yeah,
well, it was a gamble, wasn't it, Ruben Amorim? Because he'd never been sort of tested in the top European leagues. So I think they're going to want to find a person who has had success at the very highest level. I mean, they tried that with Jose Mourinho, of course, but they might have to go looking for one of those big hitters. And of course, mid-season, they're going to have to throw a lot of money at the problem if they're going to find a permanent successor at this mid-stage of the season. Darren Fletcher will take over against Burnley midweek, but he is not going to be a long-term answer, you would have thought. So I think they're going to have to throw a lot of money at the problem to try and tempt one of those big hitters of European club football away from where they are at the moment, because there aren't many of them out of work.